Hello, my name is Scottie and today I'm going to be giving you a basic introduction on the game handball. We're going to learn on the 4-wall court today, which is the indoor. There are 2 other types, a 1-wall and a 3-wall, which are both outdoor types. So we're going to focus on the 4-wall today. We're going to go over some of the basic equipment that you need, some of the rules. We're going to go over how to hit the ball, how to make contact with it, 3 basic strokes, 3 basic serves, and then the 2 types of shots that you can find during play in a handball match. So the first thing we're going to start off with today is going to be the equipment. As you can see, I've got the equipment right here all with me today. One of the most important pieces of equipment that we're going to have is going to be eye goggles. There's 2 different styles. There's this style here, as you can see, is a lensless style. It's got the band here, and there's no lens in here, so your finger can go right through there. I like these a lot better because they give you a clearer view of what you're looking at and when you're playing. The ones that have the lens, which is the other style, which is a full lens, which is basically like a regular safety goggle, they get a little bit of glare from the light sometimes on the court, and it makes it a little bit tough to see sometimes whenever you're going after a ball. So this will be the goggles, something that you wear at all times, even when you're warming up. Alright, so the next thing we're going to talk about are the gloves. The gloves are very similar to a batting glove that you would use in baseball or softball. They're made of leather typically, and they are very thin. They do make a padded style, so that way if you are a beginner, you can kind of wear that to keep some of the swelling down and to keep some of the pain from when you first start playing getting to you, so that way you can hold off some bone bruises or anything like that. They have a style where it wraps around like this, or they have some that just have a tab on there to hold them on. So the main idea for these is going to be not to protect your hand, but to keep the sweat off the ball. So whenever you're playing and you start sweating, a lot of times if the sweat gets on the ball, it'll cause the ball to slip and slide around the court. So the main purpose of these is to keep that from happening. The next piece of equipment is going to be the equipment that you would need to play the game at all. If without a ball, you can't play. So I've got 3 different balls here. As you can see, this one is a bit bigger than the other ones. This is going to be a ball, the racket ball is what it is basically, and they call it big ball, and they usually play it on the 1-wall court, which is played outdoors. It's really popular in places like New York and California. Basically, there's just one front ball, and then there's lines painted on the cement, and then you just play that way. People generally don't wear gloves when they play with this ball because it's a lot softer, and it doesn't really slide as much on the cement whenever it's wet, so it doesn't really matter a whole lot. The next 2 balls are going to be the balls that you're going to typically see on the indoor. It's going to be a red ace and a white ace. Basically, it's going to be a hard ball and a beginner ball. The beginner ball is the white ace. It's generally used for kids and women divisions, and then the red ace is used for the men's divisions and some pro women's divisions. The white ace is going to be a bit softer and a little bit easier on your hands, so that's why it's better for the beginners to play with it. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and talk about some of the rules, basic layout of the court. So this box right here is going to be the server's box, so whenever you're beginning play, the server will stand. You have to stand inside between these 2 lines. You can't step outside this over here. You can't step inside over here. So we're going to be serving from basically this box, and generally you want to try and stay towards the center of the court whenever you're serving. These boxes are for when you play doubles, which we're not really going to go into today. Alright, so the receiver is going to be standing back here, usually a few feet from the back ball, generally in the center of the court, waiting to get back the serve from the server. So that's going to be where your 2 players are in position. Now when you're serving, your serve has to go past this line, and it has to hit the front wall first. If it hits any of the side walls or the ceiling, then it's a side out. If it doesn't go past this line before bouncing, then it's a second serve, and you get 2 serves. So if you hit it, it goes right here, it bounces, and it goes, then you get a second serve, and then you have that serve to get it to the open. Alright? Everything has to hit the front wall. Once you start to rally, you can hit the side wall, ceiling, or anything, as long as it hits the front wall before it hits the floor. So you get 1 bounce, and it can hit anything as long as it doesn't hit the floor before the front wall. Alright? So that's going to be the equipment and everything and the basic rules of the game. Alright, so now that we know how to basically play the game, with the general layout of the court, equipment, rules, and things like that, now we need to talk about how we're going to hit the ball, making contact with it. Whenever you hit the ball, it's really important that you use a cupped hand so that way you get a good solid contact with the ball. Generally, you're going to want to hit it in this cupped area so that way you don't have any stray hits from going off the side of your hand or off the top of your hand. So keeping a cupped hand hitting it right into that cupped hand right there. So I'm going to kind of show you just an idea of what it looks like when you're hitting it. Generally, whenever you're hitting, you're going to step forward and go with your swing. So it is like this. My hand's cupped. Alright, so that's going to be something you're going to do with every single hit, is going to have your cupped hand. Alright, so alright, so now that we know how to make contact with the ball holding our hand, we're going to go over some of the strokes that we're going to use whenever we're playing. There's going to be three main strokes that are really basic that you'll use whenever you're playing. There's going to be an overhand stroke, which will be kind of up here like this, basically anything above the shoulder. There's going to be a sidearm, which is going to be down over this way. There's going to be everything from basically your waist and below. And then there's going to be an underhand, which is going to be kind of this motion. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about the overhand motion. Whenever you're practicing the overhand motion, it's easiest to kind of stand kind of towards the wall. You want to have this foot going towards the wall. And you just want to bounce the ball. So moving up here. Now when you swing, you're going to want your elbow at a 90-degree angle back here. So that when you step forward, make contact back here. You don't want to get down here. You don't want to make contact back here. You want it to be kind of right under your body. Right there. So you're kind of like this. Next stroke that we're going to look at is going to be one of the strokes that you're going to use for some of your more offensive shots, like your kill shot. Some of your pass shots, you'll actually use this too. It's going to be the sidearm. The sidearm is one of the more difficult things for somebody to learn, especially if you're not familiar with throwing the ball or anything like that. So we're going to show you basically the sidearm stroke. You're going to be facing the ball generally. If you're using your left hand, you're facing this wall here. We're going to, for demonstration purposes, we're going to use my right hand. So the sidearm stroke is going to be kind of something like this. So you're going to be stepping kind of at an angle like this, and at the same time twisting your body. And we're going to be bending at our knees and bringing our hips down a little bit, and stepping in and swinging. The main idea of this is to either get an offensive shot or to really get a power shot to go somewhere that you want it to go. So I'm going to demonstrate it. Slower, so we're going to break down steps. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to drop the ball. When the ball starts to drop, that's when I'm going to go forward and go after my hip. So I'm going to step. I'm stepping with this, and I'm not stepping straight out this way. I'm going at an angle. While I'm stepping, I'm already starting to turn my hips. So I'm going to step, turning my hips and swinging. One more time. It's sometimes easier to start with your hand cocked already. Remember, your hands are always cupped. So that's going to be your basic sidearm. The next one is going to be the underhand. The underhand is kind of going to be used for something that's typically called like a dump shot. If you've got your opponent who's all the way back here in the back court, and you're up here in the front court chasing the ball, and you have a chance to get a shot, and you don't want to hit it all the way back to him, and you can just simply come up to it and just do some sort of shot like that. Generally, you're going to want to either go down the side wall, one of the side walls, or get the corner and get it to come out. So something like that's going to be your underhand. And the same thing, you still kind of want to cup your hand, and you just want to kind of step in and just hit it softly. You don't need to hit it really hard. Nice and soft. Alright, so those are going to be your three basic strokes. The overhand, the sidearm, and the underhand. Alright, now that we know how to do some of the basic strokes of the game, let's take a look at the serves. The serves are my favorite part of the game because once you get to the higher level, it's kind of an easy way to score points once you can master the serve. So there's going to be three basic serves that we're going to talk about today. The power serve, which is one of my favorite serves, the lob serve, and the Z serve. So we're going to take a look at those. The power serve is generally something you're going to hit. It's going to be a really low serve, and you want it to bounce as close to this line as you can, but obviously over it so it's a good serve. So I'm going to demonstrate real quick what the power serve will look like. Generally, you're going to want to aim for, your opponent's weak hand, But when it comes to the power serve, it's not really going to matter because if you've got a good power serve, they're going to struggle with it even if it's to their strong hand. And you want to try and get its second bounce before it makes it to the back wall. So that's going to be your power serve. Your second serve is going to be the lob serve. This serve you can do from either side of the court. Generally, whichever side you're serving to is going to be the side you're going to want to stand on. And then you're going to stand about 3 feet away from the wall. So what we're going to do, I like to serve it from the other hand side. You can serve it over here as well. And basically, one aim for about 6 feet from the top ceiling down, and maybe 3 feet over. So you want it to be really slow, really high, so that way it dies those back corners. So really forward. So that's the kind of string your legs when you're getting into it. That wasn't so good. So you want it to do that except for end up in the corner. And you want to try not to hit the ceiling or any of that stuff to make it a legal serve. So I'm going to show you another style that you can do. We're going to do from over here. This is kind of across the court. A lot of people do it. You're going to kind of hit a little bit to the left of the center. And this one is basically from over here. And you're going to try and hit the corner back here and get it to shoot out. Alright, so as you noticed on these serves, I'm hitting them all really soft and really high because you want them to get back here to your opponent's weak hand so that way they struggle and they have to hit it above their head. With their weak hand, it's going to be a really tough shot even for some of the more advanced players. Alright, so the next serve is going to be the Z serve. This serve you can serve from either side, it doesn't really matter, it just depends on which side you want to hit it to. Generally, it kind of depends on your opponent, you kind of got to feel it out and see which one they struggle with more. We're going to show you the one, we're going to serve from the right side, I'm going to hit the front wall, I'm going to hit the side wall, and ideally I want it to bounce and come back this way before it gets to the back wall, hit off the side wall. So I'm going to take time to do it. Alright, so this is a serve that you can hit with different height levels. That one I hit kind of a regular height, and if you want to, you can make it almost a power serve and serve it a little bit lower. Like so. That wasn't quite it. Alright, so those are going to be the 3 serves. Like I said, your power serve, you can serve to either side. The other 2 serves, you generally want to serve to the non-dominant hand of your opponent. Alright? Alright, now that we've gone over the serves, let's talk about some of the shots that you're going to find whenever you're watching a typical game or playing. You're going to have 2 basic shots. There's going to be an offensive shot or a defensive shot. Your offensive shot is going to be the shot that you're going to hit whenever you're in front of your opponent and you're controlling the front court. The defensive shot is going to be something, if you're back here and you're trying to move your opponent back, then you're going to try and hit shots to keep them away from the front court to give you the advantage in the front court. Alright, so the first thing we're going to talk about is the offensive shots. We got 2 offensive shots. There's a kill shot, and then there's basically, there is an offensive pass shot, and then there's the corners. So we're going to talk about the kill shot. The kill shot is going to be a shot that you should only take whenever you have a guarantee, you know for sure it's a high percentage shot. Okay, so you want to hit it as low as you can, down towards the floorboard, and you want it to bounce the least amount possible. Basically, so it's your opponent's not able to get the ball back. So this is something that you want to do. Mostly, you're going to do this a lot when you actually have the serve, so that way you can score points. So I'm going to give you an example of what the shot is. The whole idea of the kill shot, basically, like I said, is if you get an opportunity to take advantage of the mistake that the defensive player makes. The next shot is going to be the corner shots. Basically, it kind of throws off the rhythm of the game, and it keeps it from going straight forward and back the entire game. It kind of makes your opponent move around a little bit. So I'm going to give you an idea of that. So there's that corner. You can hit it high, low. It doesn't really matter as long as you're hitting the corners. Alright, so the next thing we're going to talk about is the defensive shot. Like I said, your defensive shots are made to push your opponent back to the backcourt. So you've got a pass shot, which is going to be, if I'm being right here, my opponent is standing right here or something, I'm just going to hit the ball and it's just going to be on this wall. It's like this. So that's going to be kind of the pass shot. The ceiling shot's a little bit trickier. It kind of takes a little bit to get a hold of it. Basically, you're going to hit the ceiling, and you want it to be kind of a nice, soft, controlled hit, and you want to drive your opponent back here. A lot of times you're going to get stuck in these rallies where you're going to be hitting a lot of ceiling balls over and over and over until somebody decides to take an offensive shot and hit a kill shot or a pass shot of some sort to kind of move people around. So I'm going to demonstrate the ceiling shot for you. Ideally, whenever you're just practicing it, you kind of want to just bounce it up here in front of you. Really high on the side, you bend your knees, be under it, and get a nice extension up to the ceiling. Something like this. Try one more. Throughout any of this is the importance of your offhand. All the stuff that I did with my strong hand, but the important thing in handball is you have to use both hands. So all the stuff that I showed you, you want to go ahead and practice with your left hand. So some of the stuff that we went over today, we learned about the game, the rules, the equipment, the different strokes, the serves, and different types of shots. So hopefully you've kind of got an idea of the basic layout of the game and kind of how to get the game going. So I encourage you to go out and give it a try, and thanks for letting me show you.